friends, welcome to Bella Stitchery. It's Tutorial Tuesday, and today I'm doing something a little bit different and really close up because I had some requests for a video that shows just the basics of cross stitching. Fabulous, right? This is a pattern I generated. Meh. I love that. I love it. Meh for everything. This uses just 2 colors, but it will give you kind of an idea on what cross stitching is all about. My patterns specifically are fairly simple because they're all full X stitches. So you don't need to know how to do knots or back stitching or quarter stitches or anything weird. I say weird, it's not actually that weird, but they're in most of the kits. This is just an X throughout. And what you're gonna do is when you get your Aida cloth or even weave, they all have these little tiny squares. Each square on your fabric is equal to 1 square in the pattern. That's it. It's paint by numbers with floss. Your pattern will have the number of DMC, that's the color needed for the project, and what symbol is for each color. So when you see this square, that means you're going to make your X in pink. When you see this one, you're gonna make your X in blue. It is literally that simple. I like to use 14 count Aida, which is this size. Your count on your cloth is equal to the number of squares per inch. So 14 count means there's 14 squares per inch of fabric. 22 count is a much tighter weave because there's 22 squares. 10 count would be much bigger squares, but your project now for the same stitching is going to be bigger. Does that make sense? And then you're going to get your DMC floss you could get from any craft store. Same with this. And then your needle. And Google has told me that for a 14 count, the best tapestry needle size is 24, which is what this is. But you could use whatever size you want. And what you're going to do is you're going to get your floss color, and each of these strands has 6 individual threads. You're always going to stitch with 2, unless you want to use more, in which case do it. But I would just say consistency is best. So if you're going to do 2, do 2 throughout. If you're going to do 3, 3 throughout. Some people like a thicker X through their fabric. It probably also varies a little bit depending on what the weave thickness is. If you're doing really big squares, you might want to use more thread, but I use 2 throughout. That's pretty standard. So I have this threaded here, and I'm going to try to show you with the phone between me and the cloth, ought to be interesting, how to do a stitch. So biggest thing is to plant your first stitch and make sure you have enough room down and across for your whole project. Because there's nothing worse than working on something for 5 months and running out of fabric with some more pattern still to do. So I always try to leave myself a couple of inches, like 2 to 4 inches on all 4 sides, so I could frame this easily when I'm done. So for the first stitch, here, I like to start in the corner. Some people like to start in the middle. That is a 1, which is blue. So I'm going to find a square. Again, always challenging when I can't really see it. So the other tip for you is to make sure your X's always go the same way. You want to start going up to the right, like so. Let me show you again. I pulled my cloth funny. Okay, you're going to go up to the right like so. I have a dog fur, man. It's amazing what you see close up. Okay. And then you don't necessarily need to put knots on the back of your fabric because you don't want to add all that bulk. So what I do is I flip it over when I'm starting. I start the second part of my X, and then I'm just going to pull my thread through the back. See? So that when I pull the needle through, it locks that in. Okay? See? It won't pull out. And then you could put the rest of your stitch. So there's your first X. And you're practically there, almost done. I can see what it is. And then what I like to do, especially on the more complicated patterns, is I like to highlight as I go because I get very confused very easily. And so look, at a glance, I know exactly where I'm at when I pick this up next time. And then what you can do on this one, it's every other square is a blue X. You can just do that all the way across, count out how many there are, and just do it all in one sitting while you have your blue on there. See that? See how that's every other square? And then just mark off. Like so. Easy peasy. Now, when you're done with the color or you're running out of thread, again, you don't need to put a knot in. What I do is I just kind of lace it through some earlier stitches on the back so that it secures my thread. Then I can cut it like so. Now I can move on to the next color. And it's just that simple. Now, all of my patterns, again, are basically the same thing. So whether you're doing a project like this or a project like this, it's not any more challenging. It's literally one stitch at a time, no matter how large your tapestry. Now this will take more time, but it's not harder. So hopefully this video was handy for you. I will actually put this pattern either as a PDF in my description, which I've heard, having Googled it, I could do. If for some reason I can't, I'll put it on Facebook or message me and I'll send you this pattern so you can print it up. No charge, free. Act now, it's free. And then you could print this up if you want, like kind of something to just kind of tinker around with, see how you feel about the process. And it's only 2 colors. Change the colors if you want. Easy as that. Completely customizable. And leave me a comment. Let me know if you have any questions about cross stitching or any challenges that you've encountered with your needlepoint, and I will do my best to respond. I may not know, but I will help you if I can. So please subscribe to my channel and ring the bell, and let's make stuff. Bye!